diversify your bonds.
Hey guys, we're aliens.
It's not about eating a good sandwich, it's about the people there, and that's what's more
You
important.
can't live your life to the fullest if you don't have memes.
That's be careful.
Sometimes you gotta take the plunge and just, go for what you love.
As long as I like it, and then not just dance to it.
Well, if I want to be successful, people gotta know me.
Alright, keep that same energy.
You have to consider, you have to think about this, you have to know it, you have to try it.
Diversify your bonds.
What's up, sponsors? We are Please Don't Sue Us here on Another Bliss. Here we ask questions, laugh, joke, and talk about the journey that is being the small content creator. We are Ordeed. We got the certified dad bod Angelo in here. We have Uncle Migs. And today our guest is going to be our boy YellowSwerve. Say hi to the people for us.
Hey, I'm YellowSwerve, also known as Ricky, I guess. What's up?
We are going to have a good time discussing the video games. The homie does the streaming and game designs. It's going to be cool. But first, before we start it off, let's get into our sponsor.
Hi, my name is Jake. You might remember me from such things as... well, I'm here to tell you about the newest and coolest Discord server on the block, Amateur Power Hour. Amateur Power Hour is a server dedicated to artists of all sorts who are in need of critical and in-depth feedback for their work, as well as opportunities to find new folks to collaborate with. We strive to create a positive environment for artists to share their content, as well as an environment that boosts their self-confidence, all from the comfort of your own home. It's easy. Here I am now! This isn't a video ad? Oh, We also offer weekly discussions based on predetermined topics that range in scope. For example, last week's writing topic was, what makes a main character compelling? I wonder. This server is also home to the PDSU podcast crew, so if you've ever wanted to interact with your boys, Ordeed, Uncle Migs, and the certified dad bod himself, Angelo, this is the server for you. The more we grow, the more we offer. Join up today. So my check's in the mail? Yeah, in the mail. Please. I don't want to touch you. Awesome. Cool. See you never.
And now, let's just jump right into it, as Philip DeFranco says.
I did send the payment, so.
Okay. I was like, what are you talking about?
Anyways, keep going.
All right, dude, YellowSwerve. So, I guess first things first, we're jumping right into it. Tell us the origin story of YellowSwerve. How did you start streaming? How did you get the name?
So, honestly, how I started was basically I finally started upgrading my computer and having a bit more free time once I guess not once I got into college, but I just started working on things more efficiently. I kind of just have always played games a lot, so I kind of just decided, well, I might as well just figure out how to stream and then play games a lot and stream them. And that's just kind of what I do. I never really fell into a niche of oh, play this game, or play this game that just came out. I just kind of always played whatever I found interesting at the time. I actually have finally found a niche of game that I play all the time now. Or not all the time, but once or twice a week at least, which is Ultrakill. I've actually been speedrunning that now. And I'm one of the top players for it, surprisingly. But that's what I've been doing recently. And so I guess I kind of finally found a niche that really fits, but I've always kind of just played really strange games, I guess, and just things I want to play, not necessarily, what's popular or whatever.
Not necessarily catering to the crowd or anything.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of always thought about it as if I just keep playing the shit I want to play, eventually that's just gonna attract people that also like the shit that I play in general, and they'll just come by to see what I play and, you know, discuss the games I'm playing and things like that. And that pretty much has happened, which is really cool. So, you know, it's neat.
Nice. Seems like you play like a lot of like indie games. You play a lot of like, we talked about this last time we were talking with like the Kaizo Mario, or I think that's how you say it.
Oh yeah, so it was a while back, I guess. I don't really know how or what piqued my interest into it. Probably the fact that I'm not a huge fan of Mario Maker itself, cuz I don't, like, most people don't know, but Mario Maker only uses the new Super Mario Brothers engine for its physics. And like all of the styles, like even if it's like the original Mario Bros, uses those physics. And like I hate those physics so much.
Huh.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try out some Super Mario World ROM hacks. And the first one, which was pretty decent, it's probably one of the more popular ones, was called Jump. And that's like the first one I streamed. And I was like, damn, this shit's fucking awesome. And so like I just started playing more and more. The most recent one I played was Super Mario World 2. That's VORLD. It was actually made by the 4chan board V, and I actually helped out on a lot of it as well. So I had a reasonably heavy hand in the development of that. It's incredible. I cannot recommend it enough. I also played it for 23 hours straight, because for the month leading up to its release, I was like, I'm gonna sit down on the board. I was like, I'm gonna beat this shit in one sitting. I am so excited for this hack. I'm just gonna sit down and I'm not gonna get up until I finish it. You know, 12 hours in, I was like, all right, I might have gotten in a little over my head. And then 11 hours later, when I was finally finishing, I was like, damn, I'm gonna go fucking sleep. This is the best hack I've ever played in my life.
Did you finish it?
Oh, hell yeah, I finished it. I refused to go to bed until I finished it.
That's what's up.
Describe the feeling of finally like finishing that game after like 20 something hours.
So like you can check the stream archive for this too, but like I finished it and they put me in the credits and I almost fucking cried. Like the fact that I was in there for, I had no expectation to be credited at all, because, you know, it's completely, what working on it was completely anonymous. So no one knew who I was. I didn't know who anyone else was. Which is what I think is great. Like, anyone was free to make whatever they wanted.
You guys could all like pool your resources together and just like work on this project piecemeal as you went.
Yeah, exactly. And like I finished it and I'm like looking at the credits and it's like all of these like trip codes, which are basically just like random numbers and letters to like identify yourself. And then like I saw and then like in IRC chat, I was just like putting myself as Borb Anon, because that's one of the levels I made, Borb. And I saw my name there in the credits and I was like, holy shit. There I am. The organizers put me in, and
very nice. Hell yeah.
And in the best hack I've ever played in my life. it was something special. I can't recommend it enough. Like, I know like 4chan has this like really bad reputation, but like it's by far the best Mario World ROM hack I've ever played, and I can't recommend it enough.
How much time did you spend actually working on the game, would you say?
For my levels, I spent a lot of time, especially the first one I made, because I had never made a Mario level before this point. I didn't work on the first hack at all. I was just a huge fan of the first hack. Like, I played it a bunch. I like casually speedran it. I was like, all right, hell yeah, like this is awesome. And when the organizer emailed me, he was like, hey, if you're interested, I'm more than happy to have you help out, like make levels for this hack and stuff. So I started learning the tool Lunar Magic. The first level I made, I put a lot of time into it, especially like learning how to make levels in Super Mario World. Just the first level alone was probably like 10 or 11 hours for a like 3-minute level.
Hey man, but especially when you're working with a new software, if anything, that's quick.
Yeah. And like luckily, like, you know, I've designed levels for other stuff before, which we can talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely helped, and especially with like all the games I've played, and especially with all the bad games I've played, it was like, all right, I know I don't want to subject players to like X, Y, and Z, so I'll try to do this instead. And I'm really happy with how the level turned out. Like as people were testing the hack too, because there was a month of development, so 1 month of making levels, and then 1 month of testing levels. And during the testing period, like a lot of people were like, yeah, like Borb is probably one of my favorite levels. And I was like, holy shit.
Hey man.
people really like my level. What the fuck? I'm like just a little shit poster. Like,
hey man,
I can't believe people like this.
When you put in that much time and effort, you know, like it shows, and clearly by like everyone else agrees, you know, like they can tell that you had a passion for what you were doing, and they really appreciated the amount of elbow grease and like fucking soul you fucking injected into your levels because you genuinely cared.
Yeah, that's true. The worst part though is like I made a few other levels for the hack, and like I thought they were so much better, and I was like, each level I made I felt was better than the last. So like the last level I made, I was like, this is it. This is the best level I've ever made. Like this is gonna be the one that people are like, yeah, that level's tight as fuck. And like no one even mentioned that one. Like ever.
It's all about the Borb.
Yeah, seriously, it really was. The gimmick with that Borb level is like there's like orbs in Super Mario World that finish the level, but you have to like do like a little like it plays like victory tune first. And if you die by falling off a ledge during that victory tune, it doesn't finish the level. So like the whole thing is focused around not getting orbs, or else you just die.
The Borbs.
Speaking of game creation, how many games have you actually been involved in like creating?
So like if I'm being like like super technical about it, I think let me think for a sec. I think 5, but like only 3 of those I would consider like real games, I guess.
How so? What about the other 2 makes them like not real games? Like are they just like walking simulators or?
No, they were just like really quickly thrown together like school assignments.
Okay, that makes sense.
So like they really weren't like, yeah, we need to make a full game kind of thing, you know?
Oh, okay.
It was like, oh, you have 2 weeks to make this kind of game. Like one of them was an infinite runner, and the other one was it was an Unreal project where the instructor was like, oh yeah, just do these things each week in your Unreal project, not like make a game. So one of them's an infinite runner, and then one of them's just like a sandbox with a bunch of random shit in it.
Okay, very nice. Is it like random mechanics or like random things that you just like made?
Just like random assignments, like pretty much. So like there's like a cube you can like pick up, and like you can move around, and like you can shoot a quote gun. And like there's like a bouncer pad, and like it's just like a bunch of random shit thrown together in a space. So I wouldn't call it a game at all.
Okay, fair
but
enough.
It's experience I have, so that's something. As for the 3 games that I've actually worked on, so the first one I started working on would be Elevator Pitch, and that one was with the GDA, the Game Design and Art Collaboration, which is a club up at UCSC. Which is open to anyone in the area.
So if anyone listening is interested in making a game,
you know, obviously things.
Is this
are
a
little...
plug? Is this an unexpected plug?
Yeah, unexpected plug. GDA. You know, obviously things are kind of weird right now with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
But during the normal school year, like we open the doors to all UCSC students and like just people in the area that catch wind of it, because we have had and have non-UCSC students.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as you have the skill to actually like help out,
as long as you have the willingness and motivation to help out, not even the skill. Because I like having people. You don't need to be talented or anything. I came into UCSC with 0 game design knowledge, and GDA made me feel welcome And they're like, you don't have to have any prior game design experience. You don't even have to be a games major. Just show up and we'll teach you everything you need to know and want to know. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is better than fucking my actual courses at UCSC. All right.
Fuck yeah. You know, you really get hands-on learning experience, you know, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
And so that was the first game I started working on, and the second to last game I finished. So the middle game, I guess. And that was a great experience. It was, you know, big teams. I met a lot of people on that like project.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun. I absolutely loved it. The second game I made and started working on was Pluck and the Power of the Chord, which is like a music bullet hell, music rhythm game bullet hell kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to play certain notes to make chords, and those chords like will activate certain powers. And then it's just like bullet hell gameplay. So like there's a bunch of enemies shooting at you and you just gotta dodge their bullets. I was really happy with the design work and stuff I did on that.
Mm-hmm.
And like our programmer was incredible. Like he did so much. He killed it. So did our artists, because it was a team of 3. There were 3 of us.
Mm-hmm.
All of us did a super good job. I'm really happy with how that turned out. And I'm probably someday going to like further pursue the concept on my own, because I think it has a lot of potential, especially if I make it into more of like an actual rhythm game, like similar to Crypto the Necro Dancer kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that game combines genres really well. It combines a dungeon crawler and rhythm games perfectly. I really like how they combine.
Wait. Which one's that?
Crypto the Necro Dancer is the one where it's just like you're in like dungeons and you move around to the beat of the song.
Crypt of
the Necro Dancer.
The Necro Dancer is now sponsoring another plug.
But yeah,
thank you for your sponsorship.
Super cool game, since it takes 2 completely opposite genres and combines them. And that's kind of the same thing I want to do with Pluck and the Power of Chord in whatever form it reemerges in.
Are you thinking about like adding a story element to it, or are you just thinking about making it like more of a long format game? Like, what do you?
Probably just more of a long format game.
Okay.
I really don't think it's something that needs story. I've always been in the boat of gameplay over everything else. If a game has bad everything else, but it's got the perfect gameplay, it's gonna be an incredible game.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I love rhythm games.
Oh yeah, I love rhythm games too. I actually just bought Taiko no Tatsujin for Switch with the drum.
Patapon.
So that's cool.
Patapon.
Patapon is awesome. That game's really good too.
You were talking about story in games.
Yeah.
And there was one game that we've talked about previously, which was Nier.
Yes, Nier Gestalt / Replicant.
Yeah, the first Nier.
Yeah.
Why does that game work so much for you? Because it's like one of your favorites, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I even recently played through it again, and like, oh my god, that game got me so fucking emotional so many times. Like, the reason that game works so well for me is because the gameplay is, you know, it's good enough. And it serves its purpose of kind of driving the story, but the writing of the characters and the music and just the overall story is so incredible that it makes up for all of the game's weak points.
And
they're actually remaking it. Unfortunately, they're not remaking both versions of the game, because there's a version of the game with an older father figure that you play as, and then there's a version of the game where you play as a brother, and they're remaking the brother version because that's the quote canonical version. And the other version was just made for Western audiences because they like big gruff dad men. The point is, it was way better, and no one overseas recognizes it as the better version, so we're getting the worst version remade. But you know, that's a conversation for the different times.
Remix.
Boils my blood just thinking about it.
Hey man,
But,
sometimes remakes are better than the original. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, and the remake's looking to be really good so far. Because when I was streaming the game, like, and if you go watch the VODs for it in the archives, like the whole time I was saying, like, man, I hope for the remake of this game they don't change a single thing except for the combat. I want everything to be exactly the same except for the combat. I want the combat changed.
What's wrong with the combat?
It's not good. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's just boring.
Okay,
you, like,
so
just hit.
So it's like tedious and like a chore to actually get through a fight.
Yeah, it's super tedious.
Okay.
But like the thing is that like almost like enforces the story. Because like it's not fun to do, but you'll be doing it anyways. And like not to put too much spoilers, for the game, because I think every person alive should fucking experience Nier in its rawest form possible. But like the main character just kind of wants to kill all of the shade. The enemies in the game are called shades. He just gets to a point where he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm killing all of these things. And like it ends up being like where he's doing it for fun almost. Like it's kind of crazy. The story does like some of it follows, if you've played Nier Automata, I call it Nier Tomato because that's easier and funny. But if you've played Tomato, it follows a lot of the same kind of story beats, but it does every single one infinitely better.
Okay.
Where I played Tomato, and like the game kind of tries to make you feel bad for the things you're killing, and for me it never succeeded. And I'm saying this as someone who really liked Tomato the first time I played it, because that was the first game in that universe that I had ever played. And like I was like, all right, this game's doing some cool story stuff. Like I get the writing, it's like kind of interesting, kind of cool. And like I finished the game and I was like, wow, that was incredible. This might be one of my favorite games. And then I played the original Nier, and it just like hit all of the story beats even better, and like it made you feel like a pile of dog shit constantly for doing what you did. And I'm playing through it and I'm like, holy shit, this is everything Nier Tomato tried to do, but it succeeds like a lot.
So did it do it better by focusing on like a central character and like developing them more than Nier Automata? Or do you think that like Nier Automata, like what specifically do you think makes the storytelling better?
Specifically giving more, hold on, let me think for a sec, because it's kind of a hard question just to like answer without spoiling everything.
That's fair.
So I'm trying to word it in a way that like doesn't just give away Nier's entire story.
Yeah. I
guess it gives you, so I think the best thing to do here would explain the what Yoko Taro said when he was making up the story for the original Nier. He said that what inspired the story behind the original Nier was actually 9/11.
Really?
Because it was two groups of people believing they were completely in the right. And if you look at their reasonings, they both are pretty, unflawed. They both believe they were doing what they did for the completely right reason, and that they were just. Nier captures that perfectly. Where Nier Tomato doesn't. I never really felt like either people were doing what they did for the right reason. They're just kind of doing it.
Yeah.
More so, I feel like you were always the bad guy, and I never thought that who you were playing as were the good guys.
Okay, that's fair. Because in Nier Automata, it's like usually more of a question about like what is sentience and like what is free will.
Don't spoil it. I'm still playing it.
Don't worry, that doesn't spoil anything super big.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll dance on that point a little bit more, where Nier Tomato does play around with that. And like, it plays a lot with like what is sentience, what is humanity, but Nier, the original Nier, doesn't play around with that point at all.
Okay.
It's very clear. This is humanity. This is sentience.
And
this is what you're doing.
And this is what happens when like ideals are taken to the extreme.
Yeah, It's really good. Like it just sends chills up my spine thinking about it. Like, oh my god.
Okay.
I can gush about that game all day.
Okay, that makes sense. Then like it's more of a story about like Nier Automata is more about like, oh, like what does it mean to be human, and like the original Nier is more directly like visceral to the person. It's less existential. So you can really like feel the emotions behind it. Okay, that sounds pretty fucking cool. Hell yeah.
So when it comes to game design, what's like a good example of a game that really, I guess, makes you feel a certain way through the gameplay?
Through the gameplay. This is kind of a so I have a couple examples if you're willing to hear these couple examples, and I'll try to go through them quick. The first one's a really shitty game.
Okay.
and I think I might have talked about it last time. It's called Drakengard.
I think I remember you saying this.
It's another Yoko Taro game. It was his first game that he made with Square Enix. And it's not good. It's not good at all. But it hits a lot of these. Its gameplay is so droning and boring, and the music is such fucking insanity boiled down into music that like the more you play it, and if you get the like true final ending of the game, it just becomes like this droning noise, and the combat is just so boring and plain and unfun that you get into this mindset of just like actual mindless killing, which is exactly what the main character is doing in the game. He is killing because it's what he likes to do. And like the main character in Drakengard is an absolute fucking sociopath. And it's really subtle, but like especially through the gameplay and the music combined, like you get into this mindset of just like, I'm just killing and I'm just going to keep killing. And it's really, really good when you think about it that way. If you're playing it as a video game, it's really, really shitty. But as an experience, I think it's extremely powerful.
Okay, so it's kind of like The Line if the gameplay was more integral to the story, but also like not as great as you hoped it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Another game that is probably a lot more known is Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2.
Is that the one where they're going into like the dream realm and like trying to
So that's the one where you're playing as Roxas during his like early it takes place between when Sora goes to sleep and when Sora wakes up. So like the end of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. It completely spans that time period.
Okay.
And the reason I bring this game up is because the gameplay isn't anything spectacular. It's pretty, subpar. It's probably like the same level as the first Kingdom Hearts game, which I don't get me wrong, I love that game, but I don't think the gameplay is anything special.
Yeah.
But it gets really boring because it's mission based. So each day you go through each of Roxas's 358 days. That's the time length of the game. And you go through these days like doing mission after mission, and it's like, okay, go to this world and kill Heartless. And those are your missions, and they're really boring. But it just like and it makes you bored. It really does. It's not fun to do. But it gets you in the same mindset that Roxas is in, because he doesn't have fun doing it. It's just work for him. It's like his 9 to 5. He's a 9 to 5er. He wakes up, he does his fucking work, and then he goes and hangs out with his friends after and eats ice cream.
It's the daily grind, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And it really gets you in that mindset of like, all right, time to go to work so I can see these cutscenes and learn more story.
We're all on that grind. We're all on that grind.
In that way, it's really fucking cool.
We're all on that grind.
But as a game, it's not fun at all.
I would say for like an example that I've seen would be in Lisa, the game Lisa.
Oh, I love that game. That's a really good game too.
And it's one of my favorites. Angel's actually playing it right now.
I just started, so no spoilers. But yeah, from the little that I played.
It's kind of a spoiler. It's kind of a spoiler,
Alright.
but it actually affects the gameplay. But
as
it's
long
not
as
like
it's only kind of a spoiler,
it's not like a.
So I think one thing we can talk about right away is I'm assuming you've at least played like 30, like an hour or so of the game.
I was going to get into like the choices, like one of the
yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. So I'll just bring up this really like I'm gonna spoil you, but it's something super minor, just to like get the point across. Because I think I don't want to spoil like the bigger stuff for him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But at the very beginning of the game, there's a part where you either choose to let your partner die or they take all your items. A big part of the game is the choices you make actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
And they immediately matter. And, you know, that's just the very first little taste you get of your choices really mattering and just being constantly oppressed in game and just like this crushing atmosphere of the world. Because there's no like getting out of this choice. You have to make this choice and it's shitty either way. There's no good outcome to choose. It's just like, what do you want to do? It's this or this, and it's immediately going to affect you.
Okay.
No matter what you do, no matter what you choose, you're going to be affected very negatively by this decision.
Honestly, that's one of the things I felt was really lacking from certain story like focused games, like a lot of the Telltale games where they had like The Walking Dead and shit. Like you had all this illusion of choice, but realistically, there was only minor aesthetic like differences between the actual choices you made. I don't know if this is spoiling it for anybody, but in one of the episodes of the Walking Dead one, you have this option to like take some shit out of a car because like it's just abandoned in the woods. And later on, the people who own that thing like come to confront you. But whether or not you participated in taking shit out of that car or not, they still blame you and try to attack you. And it's just like, so what was the point? Like there wasn't like it when it's first presented to you, it's kind of like set up as a moral choice. And it seems, since it's like the climax or like the after part of like the previous episode, it feels like, oh, this might lead into something, but it really doesn't. Versus games like that, I really appreciate, even if the gameplay suffers a little bit, mostly because like you feel a sense of like, not necessarily accomplishment, but like not even catharsis. How would I explain that? Like it feels more immersive when you
feel more like you're interacting with the game.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
I'm choosing what happens, not I'm gonna make a decision and then it's actually not gonna matter at all.
Yeah. So like that's why I really enjoyed like Nier Automata the first time I ever played it, was because fucking like the choices in and the gameplay like melded together really well, even though ultimately like technically you still get to the same ending. It still felt really like, I don't know, this sounds like super simplistic, but it felt good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving on, what's a challenge that like a game designer like faces that a lot of people just like don't really think about?
I want to say that like the biggest challenge is just doing it. But I feel like that's a problem that a lot of people experience and know of. Maybe they might think it's just them, but like it's not. It's everyone. Me especially, like the hardest thing is just like, all right, time to do this.
Time to sit down and make a game.
Exactly. And like I have a really hard time with that a lot. The only time I didn't have a hard time with it is when I was working on World 2. And I was just like ecstatic about making these levels, which is what made me think like, all right, I'm probably a level designer. That's probably what I like to do most. Cause I absolutely loved making those levels. Like not to make it sound like I'm like depressed all the time, but like that month of like making levels, like I felt like I had purpose. Like I woke up every day, because that was during summer too, so I didn't have anything to do. But like I would wake up in the morning and be like, all right, what am I gonna work on today? Like what should I do for these levels today? And like every day it was like that. Like I felt like I had something I could work on or improve every single day. And it was such a joy to have that feeling and like sense of purpose, I guess.
Yeah, especially since like most people like we're just like beaten down by the monotony of like continuously doing like either work or like something else that we don't like get a visceral like, you know, sense of accomplishment from. So honestly, it's great that you found something that can give you that, because ultimately I think that's like what we're all looking for in like some small way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only unfortunate thing is that, you know, development's over now, but at least I can enjoy the game. I can play that game all I want, and I love every second of it.
Hey, and now you know what makes you happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I love level design. I guess. I really like taking games mechanics, cuz so the thing about Super Mario World is it's at the point where if you can code in assembly, which is like the most basic language, you can put anything you want in Super Mario World.
Really?
Like the possibilities are limitless. It's insane. I don't know how to do any of that. So I was making what's called vanilla levels that just use the basic blocks and enemies and mechanics. And I found so much pleasure in like figuring out how to like use the mechanics in like kind of different ways, or like just making things around those mechanics.
Honestly, sometimes having limitations helps like get your creative juices flowing, you know what I mean? Cuz
definitely. And that's something that the program Lunar Magic does, cuz you are making these levels for a Super Nintendo. So there's only so much it can do.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember like remember when Vine was a big thing? Like,
yeah,
dude, only like
it was like 6 seconds, right?
Like 6 or 7 seconds, something like that. But like those limitations, like brought out like this whole stream of creativity. I think that's what you were getting at, Angel. Was like the whole Vine thing.
Yeah,
it just limitations breed creativity and like the workaround.
Yeah, definitely. And to like kind of jump off that point, I even think your own limitations can breed creativity. Like you look at indie games, and you know they have one person working on them, and you know these people aren't gods. They have their own limitations too. They're not good at certain things. They lack prowess in certain aspects of game making, and they recognize that, and then they build around that. And I think that's a great thing. One of the game I mentioned earlier that I've been speedrunning, Ultrakill, hashtag buy Ultrakill right now. I don't even give a shit if you play it. Just go buy it.
Are they sponsoring this podcast?
There we go.
I fucking hope so.
We're getting more and more sponsors as this podcast goes on. I'm digging it. I love it.
I think we're raking in them checks.
I follow the dev for that game on Twitter, and he sent out a tweet once, and he was like, "Yeah, so it's kind of funny that, you know, I'm not very good at 3D modeling. That's probably the weakest thing I've done. And that's what people like the most about my game. They like these blocky PS1 ass looking enemies." So he took this weakness and made it into a strength. And if he never sent that out, I would have thought it was completely intentional, and he was just like a genius of like retro aesthetic. But that's not it at all. He was just like, damn, I'm not great at this. How can I make this work? And he did.
But like, what about the, like, I know that you just said that you were you found your own niche by playing this game. What about this game grabs you so much? Like, why do you enjoy it as much as you do?
The gameplay. 100%. In terms of gameplay, what I've always loved the most in terms of playing is freedom. Even like designing, I am very, very into freedom. I like giving the player as much freedom as possible and just letting them go wild with the mechanics. I don't really care if it's broken or like overpowered or whatever. I think giving the players as much freedom as possible is very important to make a fun game. And that's exactly what Ultrakill does. It's basically to describe what the game is like. The website that they use to like host the game, or quote host the game, it actually just links to the Steam page, is Devil May Quake. So, you know, Devil May Cry and Quake combined. And that's exactly what the game is. There's, you know, 4 different types of weapons. Each of those 4 weapons have 4 variations. There's a style meter that you can, like, that goes up as you kill enemies. Like, it's super fast paced. You can, like, cancel there's no reloading. You can cancel like recoil animations. Like it's crazy. The game's super busted. It just makes it so much better.
All right. Okay.
Like there's never been a point where I'm like, damn, I wish X could do Y. It's always, damn, X can do Y.
You're always finding out like new ways to like use the mechanics given to you and the freedoms that you have, so it always feels fresh. Okay. Yeah, that's rare to find in a game, especially like story.
Yeah, it's
like game, like even like freaking modern games like freaking The Last of Us. Like the story's good, but like once you've played it once, maybe twice, the replay value is just like not really there. Because at a certain point you're doing it for the mechanics, and the mechanics are like very simplistic.
Yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I loved the first Last of Us. I thought it was an incredible experience, but like I don't want to play that game again.
Yeah.
I feel like you already bought it.
It's not that fun to play. Like it's looking at it like from a gameplay standpoint, it's kind of bare bones, honestly. It's pretty whatever, but like that's not the point. That's not why you play that game.
You're there for the story, and it's a great story that you get invested in. But once you've heard it once, it's like, do I really need to hear it like again, like within the next like 3 months? Nah.
But more so, like, do I really need to play through it again? It's like you might as well just like watch it after that point.
Fair,
because it is a really good story. There's a lot of subtleties in the writing too, which I really liked.
I think it's interesting that the video game like genre itself has really like matured in its story elements. Because I feel like at the very beginning it was like, it's like Frogger or like Asteroid or whatever. But now like I think that debatably there's some video game stories that like reach the pinnacles of like Lord of the Rings and stuff, where they're like full blown epics and like you get invested and you really like it's really become a full-fledged storytelling medium, which I think is incredible.
And like the thing about video games too is that no other media allows you the immersion that video games do. True. Like I can go back to Nier, right?
Yeah.
Watching that game is not nearly as satisfying to me as playing the game. And like, cause like, of course this is going to sound stupid and I don't care, but like, it's almost like you're hanging out with all of these characters in the game. And like they talk so much and you really get to know these characters while doing like all of these mundane tasks and stuff. And like just spending time with them is fun. I love that.
Honestly, I think you get more like you get a deeper bond with characters from video games because you do have that like downtime that you spend with them, versus in like books and stuff, like there is some downtime, but it takes a fair bit of skill to turn that downtime into like meaningful character development. Versus this one, it's not that it takes like less effort, but it's easier to be engaged in that downtime in video games than it is in books.
And like to go off that as well, because that is a super good point. Like in books, it's like you're not there. You're very obviously, reading this story about other people. But in like games, like it's so much easier to self-insert. Like I am this character. I'm playing this character. I control what they do. So it kind of like adds that extra level of like, this could be me. And like that's the appeal to games, and that's the big appeal to VR as well. That takes it a step further, and it's not even like even a step further than like first person games. It's like I am actually here now.
Yeah, you're doing the physical actions. You're literally
it's like I am the main character. It's not like I'm controlling this person and I'm in their head. It's like I'm in my own head controlling myself now.
Yeah,
like that's awesome.
That is awesome. Do you think virtual reality is the future of like video games in like their advancement of the storytelling medium, or do you think they have there are other things that are going to advance? I
think VR, maybe not in its current form, but I definitely do think some sort of virtual reality is going to be what pushes the medium forward. Right now, I really think we're in that in the VR is stuck where video games were in like when they were first born.
Yeah.
They're all it's like asteroids and that's it. And you have games where you move around and shoot things, or you bounce a ball back and forth. And every VR developer is stuck in this headspace that it's like, this is what a VR game needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not going to say I'm not in that headspace. Like, I don't know how to push it forward, but I think eventually someone's going to make something like that push the boundary forward, like Zelda or Doom.
Yeah, something super innovative.
And things like that. Something that no one has ever done with VR before. And then everyone's going to be like, wait, why hasn't this been how it's been the whole time?
Yeah.
Is there VR Minecraft?
I think so, actually.
Is there really?
There's gotta be.
It's just Minecraft in VR.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like this, but yeah, like
That's a remaster if I've ever heard one.
But that's the problem with VR. Like, a lot of developers are like, oh, I'm gonna make this game in VR.
Yeah.
But like,
instead of being like, I'm making a VR game, you know, like this.
Yeah, it's specific. Like, it's not like this game can only be a VR game and it will not work on a mouse and keyboard. Like, I don't think that has necessarily happened yet.
Honestly, I think that VR is definitely going to be part of the future, but I think that the more immediate future will probably be like a further integration of mechanics into story. Like, again, to like reiterate with like Nier Automata and like stuff like that, where like fundamentally playing the game and just fighting and doing stuff like that is playing into the story.
Yeah, definitely. And like, not enough games play into that.
Yeah, not enough do. And honestly, that's why I'm really encouraged and like I'm hopeful for the like the future of video games, because I see a lot of room for improvement and I see people making those strides in the first place. Because realistically, like Nier Automata, like he's a genius because he's done that with every one of his games. But I think the amount of money the Nier Automata and the whole Nier franchise has made is enough to like encourage, you know, AAA developers to look into that, and actually, because like there's real monetary like benefits to doing it.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, like you just said, Nier Tomato put Nier on the map.
Yeah.
Like, before this, Yoko Taro's games were just like all like fringe cult classic games, despite their quality. And like even for me, I never had heard of any of those games before. And now I've played all of them and am currently working on the most infamous one, Drakengard 3.
Fair enough. The real dream, though, is that hopefully VR can skip the whole in-between step and go straight into like integrating mechanics into storylines, if they can learn from their like regular video game counterparts. So we can just skip all the fucking all the in-between shit and really like advance it.
Yeah.
But who knows if we'll get to that point.
Who knows? Dude, I think we're almost out of time. But before we go, dude, YellowSwerve, I got a quick question for you.
What's up?
Dude, who is another content creator that you enjoy?
So, fellow streamers, like, you know, these are all pretty small streamers that they're either people I watch or people that I've like grown close to in the community. Wodawg, WODAWG. He is a Smash Ultimate streamer. Like daily, he like has lobbies up and just plays with people. So if you're into that, definitely check him out. Regretful Twitcher. Kind of like me, a variety streamer, but he's a lot more like anime games. I think right now he's playing Danganronpa, one of them. I don't fucking know. I don't know that series. But he also like has recently played Persona 5, so like that he's much more on like the anime game kind of side.
Yeah.
Shermit the Hermit is someone I've been watching a lot. He definitely a variety streamer, a lot more like RPGs and stuff, but he does like a lot of like challenge runs of games, which is super cool. Right now he's playing Final Fantasy X without leveling up.
What the?
Which I didn't even know that was fucking possible. But he's like at the very end of the game and it's fucking insane.
Wait, really? Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, dude.
That's wild.
Yeah, he started the run and I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Because it's called a sphere grid, like where you level up. I was like, what do you mean no sphere grid? Like, how is that even possible? And he's just like, I don't know, you just play the
You just
game,
play the
dude.
game.
I was like, what the fuck do you mean you play the game?
That is wild, man.
Raw skill.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. In terms of like just like I'd say actual content creators, but like I mean like YouTube people, I guess. Kyle Bosman is someone whose opinions I very much respect. He used to work for Game Trailers, like an old game reviewing place, and then he was with Easy Allies for a while. But he just like I think he just has really well thought out insights on games. One of my favorite things he's done was a video called Capcom is Better Than Nothing, kind of a slam on Mighty Number 9, where he just kind of like he talks about like, you know, Capcom exists and is making games. And we should be happy for that. And I am. I'm glad they're making games still. But he's someone whose opinion I really respect. And then, you know, shout outs to the Ultrakill speedrunning community. By far the first community I've actually ever been like really involved in, where I like check the Discord every day, like several times a day, despite not liking Discord that much. But like there's a ton of cool people in there. Great game, super good game, best game probably my number one game, honestly. It's an hour-long game. I've put 40 hours into it. 43 and a half hours, and I'm not bored of it. I'm telling you guys, you gotta play this game. It's the best FPS I've ever played in my life, and that's
wow.
Coming from me, that's saying something, because I've played a lot of FPS games, and I really like FPS games.
Yeah, that's a YellowSwerve guarantee right there.
Yeah, Ultrakill is fucking tight. The YellowSwerve guarantee. I can't think of a single thing I would change in the game.
Hit up the game dev, okay? Maybe when he makes the second one, you can be a part of it. Do some level design on it. Come on.
Ultrakill 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Why do you think I'm speedrunning the game? I'm trying to get noticed. Like, yo.
You heard it here first,
out.
my dude. Game dev, okay? YellowSwerve's interested. Think about it.
Akita, please notice me.
Senpai, please.
All right. Well, YellowSwerve, plug yourself. Where can we find you? What are all your links and everything?
Everywhere at YellowSwerve. I even have an Instagram where I just shit post at YellowSwerve. Twitter at YellowSwerve. Twitch.tv/YellowSwerve. I'm YellowSwerve everywhere.
That's good. You know, having a username on all platforms, it's the same.
It's very convenient.
Hard. I'm just gonna say that.
YouTube YellowSwerve. I think. Yeah, it is.
Oh, dude.
The URL isn't YellowSwerve because they won't let me have my own URL, but if you search YellowSwerve, you'll find me.
How'd you get the name
Picture of it.
YellowSwerve?
All right, so that's a story, all right. So when I turned 16, my parents bought me a car. It was a Lancer. I don't remember what kind it is, but it was like a knockoff Evo Lancer, pretty much. Like it had the fucking little tail fin, the whatever the fuck it's called.
Mm-hmm. The fishtail thing at the end of the back of the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And like it was a manual. It was mustard yellow. And you know, I got pretty into like drifting the car. You know, one day I just kind of overcorrected a turn and then slammed into a guardrail. And thus YellowSwerve was born.
Did the car survive?
No,
Oh, no.
I don't have that car anymore. I have a shitty little 88 horsepower hybrid car now that feels like it's gonna explode if it goes 100.
But hey, the YellowSwerve name lives on.
The name lives on.
The swerve. YellowSwerve.
Legacy lives forever, my guy.
It's got a good ring to it.
It does.
I like bounced around with names a lot, like because I used to DJ, so like the name I used for a long time, like even when I was like playing music games competitively was DJ Soulbeat. Like I don't think you can find any of my shit by that name anymore. But like that was my name for a long time, and like that the car crash happened, and DJ Soulbeat died in that car crash, and
He was reborn.
YellowSwerve rose from the ashes.
Honestly, my dude, you'd be surprised. Like our original like podcast, like we found some of those videos on friggin' some like random Russian website. So if you're if you're really looking for it, okay, it's out there somewhere.
I know, I'm sure it is.
Don't go looking for it. Anyways,
wait, are you talking about the lost tapes?
The lost tapes, yeah.
They don't exist.
They're a secret.
They don't exist. Dude, YellowSwerve, thanks for coming on. It was cool to have you on again, because all of our audio was corrupted for the last one, and we really appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, of course. I was more than happy to come back.
Cool, man. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was great having you, my dude. I love these conversations. Okay, we should definitely do this again.
I love having them too. I absolutely love talking about game design. Like, even if you're not interested in coming by the stream and like you just want to talk about game design, like, you know, I've played a lot of games and I've played a lot of really bad games, so I know game design pretty well at this point. And you know, I've been going to school for game design, so there's that too. So if you ever just want to talk about game design, I am more than happy to talk about game design.
YellowSwerve.
Yeah. YellowSwerve.
The game designer.
You can find all of our links in the description below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thank y'all for sponsoring us with your time. See you later. Bye.
Music.
End music.
Is this where we put that end music?
That's where you put the end music.
Wait.
Do we stop the recording? We
don't stop.
Wait for the end music.
Exactly. We do it now. End music.
Please don't sue us. For legal reasons, content, we should mention that all sponsors are not actually sponsors, and we only mention them for the sake of parody. All related brands and intellectual properties are owned by the respective companies, and the content of this podcast does not reflect the views or values of those given companies. Seriously, please don't sue us. We have no monies.
I just realized what I would want. I want the ability to just not sleep. Imagine how much more productivity you could get out of
Yeah, you spend like how many fucking years do you spend sleeping? When
a third of your life?
Yeah, so like a third of your life.
So 60 years would be like 20 years of your life you spent sleeping.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing about sleeping, is every single time you sleep, it's just a free trial of death. You get a sample every single time you sleep. And you know what sucks about that free trial? It's freaking good. Like,
it's a good free trial.
You want to like just make it permanent, and then you're like, you wake up and you're like, son of a gun. Like,
Dude, you know what? That makes me so much less terrified of dying.
Right?